Glad to have you back for another video supplement to Sitting at the Feet of Rabbi Jesus. In today's video, we'll cover chapters 5, 6, and 7. Chapter 5 opens with a scene inside of a yeshiva. This is a seminary for Orthodox Jewish students wanting to become rabbis. And the authors explain their study techniques. If you look at this picture, notice, is anybody really studying alone? They all study in pairs or trios or small groups, and they grapple with the scripture together, helping each other to understand or to explain. And they each have a haver, a friend to study with. Now, when you think of people studying the Bible, you might picture one of those perfectly placed pictures on Instagram with the Bible on the table and a mug of coffee and some lovely quotes. Well, that is our westernized view of solitary study. And it's a scene like this where 2 or 3 are gathered studying the Word that maybe helps make more sense of Matthew 18, verse 20. In the section Community Past and Present, the authors bring up a really interesting point about when Jewish people read their scriptures, when they read the Hebrew Bible. It's as if they're reading their own family history. So what would happen if we as Christians started reading these stories as personal family histories? I mean, if you think about it, the Jewish people are our spiritual ancestors. God has adopted us as children. There's also the phrase in Romans that we are grafted into God's family tree. If you think about the word grafting from a horticulture perspective, I have this great visual of the tomato, which is what it's called in the UK. In the US, it's called ketchup and fries. And this is actually one plant that grows both potatoes and tomatoes. So this is an image of one plant being grafted into another, and they both grow. And that's how we can picture ourselves as Christians in God's family. We have been grafted in to His family, and therefore all of the Hebrew Bible are our stories as well. Let's move on to chapter 6. Rabbi, teach us to pray. In this chapter, the authors start off with a survey of Jewish religious practices today that we might wonder if Jesus partook in the same one. So, for example, did Jesus wear tefillin? On page 85, the authors describe tefillin. Well, we might also call it phylactery, but this is what they look like. And I love that archaeologists have even discovered one of these from the Qumran caves where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. And so the authors mentioned this in the book. This is what that looked like. Incredible. Another religious tradition the authors say that Jesus would have participated in is reciting the Shema. And I have a great video here if you are not as familiar with the Shema, which is, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." And I have several links in the description below, not only for learning the Hebrew and how to pronounce this Shema in Hebrew, but there are songs that people have put music to the Shema that are just beautiful. And the authors point out one more item from current modern day Jewish practice that Jesus would have also likely done, and that is pray the prayers and the Amidah. Now this is a set of today 19 prayers. In Jesus' time, it wasn't formally put together as it is now, but the prayers would have been very familiar. And I've got to say that when I was researching about Hannah, the mother of Samuel, I discovered that her song impacted this set of prayers. Hannah's song set the standard for Jewish prayer from her time to today. And in fact, she's remembered every year on Rosh Hashanah for not just her story, but her prayer, her psalm. Be sure, if you have the study guide version of this book, go to the very back and you will find a copy of the Shema and the Amidah with all of the different blessings that are in there. And finally, chapter 7, for everything a blessing. This may be my favorite chapter actually because It has changed my attitude in prayer. And I love how the authors connect us back to this Jewish tradition of blessing, that the focus is not on ourselves, it's on God, the giver of all things. And they note that this goes all the way back to Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 10, where we're commanded to bless the Lord. And David took this a step further in Psalm 103, bless the Lord, O my soul. And I love the Godspell version of Oh, bless the Lord, my soul, that comes right out of Psalm 103. In the section Saturating Life in Prayer, they give a lot of examples of the different types of blessings that our Jewish friends would say and still say every day. There's a blessing to thank God for returning your life to you when you wake up. And one that I particularly like, blessed is he who gives a pleasant smell to fruits. In the section Blessings in the Gospels, you really need to check this one out yourself. There's a common misunderstanding here when it comes to praying for meals. And Christians typically, maybe you've done this, will say, Dear Lord, thank you so much for this food. Please bless it for the nourishment of our bodies. Right? You've heard this. But is that really what we're supposed to do? And the misunderstanding comes from Matthew 14. But if you know the Jewish tradition of blessings, you will see praying for food in a whole new light. So go check that out. Now, I encourage you to go to the back of the book for the study guide. On page 242 are a selection of different blessings that you can say as you walk through your day, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. And one of my favorite ends with, Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who is good and gives good things. I hope that you found some good things in this video today. Join us next week where we cover chapter 8, 9, and 10.